Hi, it's another PCB component identification viewer email time again. Somebody sent me in, thank you very much, a photo of a board they're trying to repair. It's a heat pump controller, and you can see down here, well, it's had the magic smoke has escaped from one of the parts. There's been other things fail on the board apparently, but yeah, that's Kamagutsa. So he wants to know if we can identify this part. So unfortunately, like, I don't have like a proper bottom side photo as well, so it might be a bit hard to sort of like reverse engineer what's going on here, but let's have a go. But hey, we might be able to get close enough to at least give the viewer a direction on how they can actually replace this, find and replace this part. Okay, so what we've got here, this one, he sent me another photo identifying this as an LM239, and that's same as the LM339, just a different temperature grade or whatever, and it's a quad comparator, so a classic TI quad comparator thing. And then we've got these two pin header here. I don't know what this chip is, but it doesn't really matter. What we're interested in is the LM239, a quad comparator, and you'll notice that there's four basically identical. Well, this one does have an extra cap or whatever, doesn't it? But yeah, well, no, if you just count that. If you just count that, these are four identical circuits. So we have one of our four identical circuits failed. And when you have four identical circuits like this, you go, thank you very much, Murphy, for showing grace today. And because it means that you've got, obviously, four identical components here. So we do know the number, even though this is burnt beyond recognition, we know that it's going to be identical to these three other parts. And you can see that it's obviously a C3. Okay, so turn your head in that direction. C3, like that, is going to be the component identifier. That's going to be the marker. And then it looks like it's got a 5 here on its tilted on its side like this. And there's a single dot below here, and there's 2 dots below here like this. Now, this second code here with the 2 dots, that's going to be some sort of production code. So unfortunately, that makes it more difficult, because if you go searching for that, you probably won't, you might not get lucky, because that production code changes all the time. Could, like a batch related code, process code, something like that. And that's going to completely vary depending on the manufacturer. So C3 is what we're looking at. Now, unfortunately, C3 is pretty common. So let's go have a look. Now, of course, the first thing you do is go into various SMD databases, and there's tons out there. Leave it in the comments down below, your favorite one. I just found, I don't do enough of this that I use a common one. I just, these are 3 different sites that popped up. And of course, you can type in C3 here, and you've got the SMD code down here. And of course, this is a SOT23 package, and that's important, because you don't want to go searching for other packages. You'll just chase a red herring down a rabbit hole, and you won't find what you're looking for. So you definitely want a SOT23. So if we could filter for only SOT23, in fact I've sorted this here for SOT23. Okay, so we've got various parts here, but is it a diode? Is it a PNP transistor? Is it an N-channel JFET? Is it an LDO? Oh no, that's a SOT25. And then if we go over here, is it once again, is it an LDO? Could be like a PNP transistor. It could be an N-channel JFET, right? So it could be a whole bunch of stuff. This database over here, we can go searching for the right. We have to search visually for the package here, but like it could be a dual diode like this, which I suspect that might be, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But it could be a voltage detection IC, right? It could be it could be a linear voltage regulator, LDO type thing, right? Once again, we've got the dual Schottky again, and we've got a PNP transistor, N-type FET, voltage detection, right? So yeah, it could be anything like that, sadly. And then you've got 5-pin packages, so you don't want to go chasing those because that's pointless. So what we need to do is go back to our PCB here and try and figure out what's going on. Now you can see here that all 3 pins are connected. This goes to a via here, this goes to like a ground plane here, and this goes off to a pin, which is great. We can trace that on the photo. This one also goes off to a pin. So basically we've got a pin here like this going to the same terminal. So you know it's a 3-terminal device. So it's not going to be a 2-pin diode, for example. So yeah, it's basically all the same. And this one you might think there's no trace coming off, but there is actually a trace going off under there like that. And this one over here has exactly the same thing. Now, let's check the pin out for an LM239, okay? So we've got pin 4 here, okay? This goes off to pin 4. This goes off, we don't know where that goes under there, but we could guess based on the later ones. This one is going off to pin 9 and pin 11, okay? So 4, 9, and 11. So pin 4 is an inverting input. Pin 9 over here, non-inverting input. And pin 11 here is a non-inverting input. That's interesting. That one side, so maybe a symmetrical half. So I bet you that the other one goes off to pin 6 over here. I'm overconfident. I thought that one would have gone into pin 6. If this one went into pin 4, input to the comparator, well, I thought it'd go into here, but it's not. It's grounded. What? Oh, look, pin 6 and pin 7 of the comparator here, they're the inverting and non-inverting inputs, and both of those are grounded. Both of those are grounded. So they've taken out, that's interesting, see? At the start of this, this is why I just record this on the fly, right? I thought that this would be 4 separate comparator circuits, right? But clearly it's not. One of the comparators is just completely they've shorted both inputs so they don't flap around in the breeze, and that's common practice. But normally you wouldn't tie both to 0 like that, because then you can get little tiny noise differences between the two and it could oscillate or something like that. So you usually tie one low and one high or something like that. But anyway, that's tied off. And this is definitely a 239, because there's the photo of it there. It's definitely LM239, and both of those pins, 6 and 7, are both tied to ground. So that's interesting, and it's a genuine TI jobby. I just noticed something, that this pin is going nowhere, so I reckon that pin's going out there like that. Okay, so pin 5. Yeah, so they're using this op amp here, not using this one, so they might be slightly differently configured, maybe. Anyway, don't want to go... The important point I want to make is that they're on the inputs. So that means that, of course, one of the reasons you might use a transistor around an op amp is to get increased output current capability of the op amp. So you might be using it as an emitter follower, for example, on the output. So the output of the op amp might be driving the base of a, NPN transistor, for example, and then that would give you, go into the rail, that could give you increased output current capability that the comparator is not capable of. But in this case, it's actually not an op amp, it's a comparator. So from a comparator, so you can rule out that it's an output transistor. Now, the next thing to consider is, would you have a transistor on the input to a comparator like this? Not usually, but I don't know, you might be doing some level shifting, you might be doing something else, I don't know, but generally unlikely. The more likely scenario, I think, and because it's blowing, right, you don't ordinarily get something that's had the arse blown out of it like this. The magic smoke escaped in such a violent fashion if it's not connected to some sort of external input or something like that. It might have got a lightning surge, some other surge, something like that has blown this thing. So it could have been, say, an output drive transistor, for example, as I said, but you're not going to have that on a comparator like this usually. So it's something on the input. So I would say it's more likely a protection diode on the input because it's so blown. More likely a protection diode doing its job, by the way. Excellent, well done, hat tip to this diode for sacrificing itself to save potentially the rest of the circuit and the comparator up here. So yeah, I think it's more likely to be a protection diode, and because it's a 3-pin jobby, as we said, it's most likely going to be a dual diode like that. So I would say dual diode in a protection configuration, because one of them is going down to ground, the other is going to here, and I reckon if you buzzed this out with your meter, you'd find that this is shorted out to over here, which is shorted out to that one, which goes over to here, which goes over to this big trace here, and given that it's a fat trace, gives you an indication that it's a power trace. So it looks like diode input protection for this comparator going to the positive rail and ground. So I'm pretty sure you're looking for a dual diode here. That'd be the safest bet. But the good news is, of course, you've got multiple ones here. So what you would do is you would just, you could just buzz this in circuit or desolder it if you have to. If you've got one of those component identifiers, the magic ones that just switch all the pins and magically tell you whether it's a diode, dual diode, transistor, FET, whatever it is, they're very cool, handy. But you can just do this with your multimeter. You can just test that there's a PN junction in both directions like that. So yeah, it's pretty easy to confirm that this is a diode, and if it's a transistor, you'll know that because you'll be able to get like a base emitter junction, but I'm pretty sure it's not, right? This is obviously going to a rail. Just buzz this out from here, from this pin over to here, and you'll find that they're shorted. So going back over to here, what do we got? We've got diodes here. So SOT23, one SS2 226. Luckily they provide a link to the data sheet, so let's have a look at that. 1SS226, there you go, a dual diode jobby, which looks like it'd be doing the business. And yes, that is correct, because this pin here goes down to ground, right? And this pin here was going to positive, and that's exactly the configuration that you would have them if it was a clamp-in and input clamp-in diode there for protection. So I don't think I'd be too fussed over what type of diode it is. Like, any diode would actually get this back into operation. In fact, simply removing the component should, in theory, get this back into operation. If assuming there's nothing else blowing, it's just the diode that's done its job protecting the comparator, then removing it removes any potential low impedance path, but it's no longer protected. But yeah, you should just be able to put any, you know, like it's an 80 volt jobby, current point. Is there a point in there? It's like 100 milliamps or whatever. Yeah, 100 milliamps. So it's just a pretty jelly bean kind of dual diode thing. Now, the other thing you can do is you can do an image search. So I've done an image search here, and I put SMD code SOT23C3 like that. You probably don't even have to put the word code. And you have a look down here, and sure enough, look, C3 with a dot below it. But as I said, this marking over here is that's like some sort of lot marking or whatever. So that's going to change, but it's an SS226. There you go, SS226. So yeah, I reckon it's an L1 SS226, and you can get that from wherever. Yeah, look, you can get 100 pieces on eBay. There you go. So I reckon it's most likely that with just a different production lot code there, which doesn't matter at all. So I'd say it's a 1SS226. That'd be my guess. But anyway, leave it in the comments down below if you think it's, you know, if you do find an exact equivalent to this. You know, we could probably go searching for C5, like you could go searching for C5 and then add that 5 on the end, but I think you're kind of going down a rabbit hole there with that. I mean, I should just try it, right? Nah. The good thing is a lot of the dealers will have these nice high-res photos of the, like actual photos of the parts, and you can often find it just doing an image search like that. So yeah, that's very handy. C3, and yeah, you're unlikely to find that 5 on the end, but it doesn't matter. I reckon we've found it. It's a 1SS226, probably available from a bunch of manufacturers. 1SS226. Just put it into DigiKey. You can put it into Fine Chips or Octopart or whatever you want. It's available from 2 manufacturers, Micro Commercial Co. and Toshiba. But yeah, it's available from a ton of different manufacturers because this is the generic one. Yeah, you can probably get it from half a dozen different Asian-specific manufacturers. So yeah, I think that is what we have here. We can open a, you know, genuine Toshiba jobby here. There it is, there. Yeah, ultra high speed switching, although they're using it for protection in this case. So there you go. I hope that's answered the question. I do believe it is a 1SS226 used for protection. So there you go. Thoughts and comments down below if you've got potentially more exact match with the manufacturer. But yeah, any dual diode with the same pin out should do the business there, I reckon. And so yeah, it's a very grotty board, so I hope there's nothing else wrong with it. I think he did like fix something else on it, but yeah, hopefully I'll keep it updated in the comment. I'll send this back to the viewer and yeah, see if we can get it up and running. Anyway, if you enjoyed that style of video, please give it a big thumbs up. As always, discuss down below and over on the EEVblog forum. Always linked down below. There's a forum thread for every different video I make. And also check out the EEVblog store because I've got the new BM2257 multimeter on there, which would measure these diodes in circuit quite nicely. Catch you next time.